Heartwarming journey of a divorced mom, discover the 200M amazing secret of a junk gas station. Sarah, a 32-year-old divorced mom, felt the familiar weight of her worries pressing against her chest as she hurried through the small Midwestern town. Every step echoed with dreams of a better life for her two children, Caleb and Mia. They were her world, yet sometimes it felt like she was drowning in bills and anxiety. The sun shone bright above, the endless sky seemingly mocking her struggles. But she couldn't let it get to her. She had two little faces depending on her resilience. On the corner of Maple and Main, she caught sight of Marty's pit stop. The gas station was a crumbling relic of better days, its faded sign whispering lost promises. Marty, a gentle old veteran with a heart of gold, struggled to keep the place afloat. Sarah felt an unexpected spark of inspiration. What if she could take a leap of faith and manage the gas station herself? The idea danced in her mind, igniting hope beyond her wildest dreams. As she approached Marty, her pulse raced. Would he welcome her vision? Doubt nipped at her heels, reminding her of the whispers around town. Could a single mom with no business experience really turn this place into something special? As she spoke to Marty, the weight of her fears settled on her shoulders, but hope still flickered inside her. She thought of Caleb and Mia, learning the values of hard work and integrity, principles she desperately wanted them to embody. As the days blended into weeks, the work began. Sarah tackled the revitalization with her kids by her side. They held hands and laughed as Caleb clumsily tried to pump gas while Mia arranged the candy section like a mini artist. The laughter echoed through those cracked walls, yet challenges were relentless. Supply shortages, community skepticism, and the ever-watchful eye of Marty's rival, loomed large. "This is a silly idea," a neighbor had snickered. Each insult chipped away at Sarah's growing confidence, yet, as storms of doubt raged inside her, she pressed on, charmed by the shared smiles and the small victories. The low hum of children's soccer practices wove through her life like a comforting backdrop. But then, disaster struck. A freak storm hit, ripping the roof and flooding the store. As she surveyed the damage, tears pooled in her eyes. Was this it? Would this be where her dreams washed away? In that moment of despair, Sarah stumbled upon an unexpected clue, an old map buried beneath the floorboards, leading to a potential treasure. Digging deeper, she realized this wasn't just about her. It could change Marty's life and lift her children out of financial struggles. 200 million. Her heart raced as the weight of the revelation washed over her. But among this flood of excitement lay another storm brewing. A knock on the door revealed her estranged father, standing there with a mix of shame and hope. Time stood still. Would their history suffocate her dreams, or could it also set her free? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The tension hung heavy in the air, a palpable mix of hope and apprehension. Sarah stood at the crossroads of her life, the gas station and an estranged father trying to enter her life again. Could she muster the strength to chase after the treasure for her children while confronting her past? Her heart pounded with urgency, and as she looked ahead, the path felt as daunting as the uncharted depth of the dreams she dared to pursue. How would she navigate this tangled web of family, forgiveness, and ambition? Sarah stared at the familiar face standing on her doorstep, the years melting away into a wave of mixed emotions. Her father, whom she hadn't spoken to in almost a decade, looked older, wearier. The shame in his eyes broke her heart anew. She searched for words, any words, but all she found was silence. "Sarah," he began, his voice wavering. "I know I don't deserve to be here after everything. Why now?" She interrupted, the resentment bubbling to the surface. "You vanished when I needed you the most." He took a breath, the weight of regret palpable. "I know I can't change the past, but I wish to make amends. I heard about the storm and I wanted to check on you." The gas station loomed behind her, an embodiment of her struggles and dreams. The water damage was still fresh, but so too was the recent discovery of the map. The thought of their potential treasure glimmered in her mind, yet it felt drowned out by the chaotic memories of her childhood and her father's absence. "I don't know if that's possible," she finally replied, her heart racing. Part of her wanted to slam the door shut, another part hesitated, a bit of that little girl still yearning for her dad. "What do you even want from me?" "Just a chance," he said, stepping forward, hands raised in surrender. "I'm not asking for forgiveness today, but I can help you. I want to help." "Help how? With what? You don't know anything about running a business." She snapped, the anger slipping through as bitter fear. She felt like she was pushed into a corner by forces both inside and out. "Maybe not, but I know about hard work. And I know how to find resources. Just give me a chance to prove it," he urged, sincerity shining through. "You're doing this all alone. I can help you take that leap." The thought of teamwork brought comfort, like a warm blanket on a cold night. Yet, another storm brewed within. Trust was a luxury that came with risks. She looked past her father to the gas station that had become her fortress and her burden. Here lay her aspirations, but could she bear to let him in? Sarah considered the old map in her pocket, the dreams it promised flickering like a candle. Could unlocking its secret become something bigger, something they might tackle together? "What about the treasure?" she asked, her voice quieter but intrigued, his brow knitted in confusion. "Treasure? That old map. It might lead to something life-changing." The words felt foreign, electrifying her veins with hope and dread alike. His eyes glimmered with recognition, and for the first time, they shared a connection, a possibility to redefine their relationship. Yet as excitement danced in the air, anxiety tugged at her heart. They both stood at the threshold, the weight of their past and potential future colliding. Could this man, who had hurt her so deeply, actually become part of her new journey? "Sarah," he said softly, "what do you have to lose? What if you let me help?" She bit her lip while gazing into his hopeful eyes. Every fiber of her being urged her to protect her dreams, yet a flicker of connection hinted at healing she didn't know she needed. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting shadows of uncertainty, Sarah faced a choice that could forge a surprising alliance. Would she dare to trust him, or would she slip back into solitude, disregarding the inklings of hope that fought for her heart? Just as she opened her mouth to respond, a sudden sound shattered the stillness, a commotion erupting at the gas station. It was Mark and his crew. "What now?" she whispered, feeling the urgency surge within her once more. What challenges awaited them? Would their reluctant partnership hold, or would the storm of their pasts tear them apart before they even began? Sarah's heart raced as she caught sight of Mark and his crew approaching. Their laughter echoed like an unwanted alarm, stealing away the delicate moment she'd been sharing with her father. She quickly scanned their faces for any signs of trouble. Mark had always had a way of getting under her skin, especially when it came to her gas station. "What are they doing here?" she muttered, panic bubbling in her chest. Her father shifted behind her, concern dawning in his eyes. "Should we go inside?" "No," she breathed, suddenly feeling protective. "I'm not hiding." Mark and his friend strolled closer, the sunlight glinting off their cheerful expressions. They were carefree, brimming with the energy of youth, completely unaware of the storm brewing in her heart. As they neared, Mark waved, his palm open like a sunbeam. "Hey, Sarah. Heard about the damage? Need a hand?" His tone was friendly, but a hint of mocking laid beneath. She crossed her arms, trying to maintain her composure. "I've got it under control." Her father's presence behind her felt like an anchor. Maybe she could finally face Mark, armed with the courage she didn't know she possessed. "Thanks, but I've got help," she replied, glancing at her father and feeling the weight of everything hovering in the air. "And I don't need yours." Mark raised an eyebrow, surprise flashing across his face. Help? From who? Her father stepped forward, surprising both Sarah and Mark. From me. A moment of silence hung heavy. Mark looked unsettled, he hadn't expected this. The change in dynamics was palpable. Dad, maybe you shouldn't, Sarah began, but his hand on her shoulder soothed her anxiety. No, Sarah. He turned to Mark with a newfound strength in his voice. I'm back, and I'm here to stay. This is my daughter's business, and I'm going to help her rebuild. Mark's smug grin faltered. Rebuild? That's rich, considering what? Sarah shot back, pumping adrenaline into her words. That I had to grow up without you. That I had to figure everything out on my own. Mark opened his mouth but found no words. The crew stood still, awkward glances exchanged, the energy shifting from playful to solemn. That's the past, Mark, Sarah continued, her voice steadier. I'm about to change things. I found something that could change everything. She pulled the map from her pocket, holding it up like a banner of hope. This old map might lead to something big, something that I can share. Mark's eyes narrowed, the wheels turning in his mind. A treasure map? Come on, Sarah, that sounds like a joke. No, it's not. It could be our chance to save the station, she insisted, her heart pounding with the thrill of possibility. Treasure? Her father echoed, eyes widening. Let me see that. As she handed him the map, a moment of connection pulsed like electricity between them. Mark watched in disbelief as Sarah's father studied the faded lines and cryptic symbols. Is that where we are? And here's where the treasure might be? He murmured, excitement bleeding through his weariness. Wait, what are you saying? Mark interrupted. You actually think that old piece of paper could lead anywhere worthwhile? Sarah felt a mix of frustration and determination. She was ready to fight for this, to take the leap, but she needed to unite her father's brutal honesty with her own dreams. Yes, it can. You just don't see it, Mark. You're so focused on what's right in front of you, you're missing what we can achieve. The atmosphere crackled with tension as her father nodded, the hint of pride in his gaze. This could be more than just a gas station, it could be their second chance. Let us do it together, he said softly, his promise washing over her like a healing balm. Mark's face twisted, still grappling with disbelief. But how? You two don't even work together. Not yet, Sarah shot back, but we're going to. As the weight of their past hung between them, she realized they all faced the same choice, to turn their backs on the past or to embrace the unknown. A flicker of hope ignited inside her. Could this map be the start of something greater than herself? And could they really make this work against the odds? As the wind picked up, swirling around them, Sarah felt a new resolve hardening inside. What's it going to be, Mark? Are you with us, or will you walk away? The answer hung in the air, a pivotal moment poised at the edge of everything they had yet to confront. Would Mark refuse this partnership, or was this the moment they all stepped into an unexpected adventure? Mark frowned, uncertainty etched on his face. The flickering fire of doubt made Sarah's heart race even faster. She needed him to see past his own skepticism. Think about it, Mark, she urged, stepping closer. What do you really have to lose? If we work together, we could turn things around. This isn't just about the station, it's about what we can do as a team. The crew behind Mark shifted uneasily, their previous bravado fading into an awkward silence. Mark rubbed the back of his neck, a classic sign that he was weighing his options. Her father remained right by her side, a steadfast support. Sometimes, you have to take a chance, he said, to discover something incredible. I spent years running away from my mistakes. But now, I'm here to face them head-on for Sarah. A grimace passed over Mark's face, as if her father's honesty struck a nerve. Okay, let's say I'm open to it, he finally said, crossing his arms. What makes you think this map isn't a dead end? It's not just a map, Sarah replied, her voice gaining strength. It's a key. A key to dreams we didn't think we could have, to revive what's broken. Don't you want to see how it unfolds? Mark glanced at his friends, who were whispering among themselves. The air was thick with hesitance, but even in that moment, Sarah noticed a flicker of intrigue in his eyes. Fine, let's say I'm in, Mark said, barely masking his uncertainty. But what's the plan? You really think it's going to lead us anywhere? You've always been the one chasing after wild ideas. Sometimes wild ideas are the ones that lead us to the best places, Sarah replied, the spark of optimism gleaming in her eye. We start by tracking the landmarks on this map. If we find the first one, it could build the momentum we need. All right, Mark said, his annoyance transforming into reluctant curiosity. But I'm only doing this because we all need something to pull us out of this rut. I can live with that, she nodded, feeling the tension give way to something almost hopeful. Her father smiled. Then it's settled. We'll work together, all of us, and we'll figure this out. I've never been more ready for a challenge. As they started formulating a plan, Sarah felt a strange mix of exhilaration and fear. This was more than just chasing treasure, it was an opportunity to reclaim a piece of her past. Just remember, Mark warned as they discussed routes and possibilities, this doesn't mean we're best friends. I'd rather not be responsible when you two start getting all mushy over this. Ah, come on, Mark. Emotions are part of teamwork. Sarah shot back, laughter bubbling up. In that moment, the air cracked with an energy she hadn't felt in a long time. A shared joke soon faded, and they all returned to the seriousness of the undertaking ahead. But for Sarah, laughter was the first sign of unity. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the scene with hues of orange and pink, she felt unstoppable, like they were standing on the brink of something spectacular. With the map now fluttering between them, she couldn't shake the feeling that this journey was going to change everything. Let us get moving before the sun sets, then, her father said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Just then, Mark paused, glancing around. What if this goes somewhere darker? He mused, a serious edge creeping into his voice. What if it reveals things we're not ready to face? His words hung heavy in the air, a reminder that the road ahead was filled not only with opportunities but also potential pitfalls. Could they handle what they might uncover while searching for treasure? Sarah took a deep breath, her heart racing with the thrill of the unknown, ready to embrace not only the adventure but any secrets waiting to be unveiled. What was waiting just beyond the horizon? The chill of the evening breeze brushed against them as they stood poised for their new adventure. Sarah's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and dread. Mark's question echoed in her mind: what if this uncovering thrust them into darkness? Look, she began, trying to regain control of the mood, dark or light, we need to go forward. Whatever we find, we face it together. Mark nodded, though his expression suggested he wasn't entirely convinced. The uncertainty lingered, practically crackling in the air like a storm about to break. She caught her father's eye, he smiled reassuringly, and for a moment, Sarah felt fortified. They set off down an overgrown path, the weight of their shared past pushing against them, yet their intent propelling them forward. The last rays of sun slipped beneath the horizon, and they switched on their flashlights, illuminating the remnants of a once bustling fuel station that had long lost its glory. Is this it? Mark muttered, scanning the dilapidated structure. Graffiti marred the walls, and weeds sprouted defiantly from the cracks in the pavement. This place looks like it's been forgotten. It's not about what it looks like now, Sarah replied, her voice determined. This is where we start. Look around, there are clues everywhere, just waiting to be uncovered. They split up, combing the area. Sarah peered into the shattered windows of the main office, her heart pounding at the thought of what could be hidden inside. As she entered, the scent of mildew and rust greeted her, but so did the thrill of possibility. She ran her fingers over old papers scattered across a desk, chancing upon one that caught her eye. It was a faded invoice, but something about the numbers made her pulse quicken. "Hey!" she called out, waving it to get Mark's attention. "Come look at this." Mark stepped into the office, curiosity mingled with skepticism. "What is it?" "An invoice from years ago. It mentions a shipment." Of her breath caught in her throat as she read the last line. "It's for rare gas pumps. The kind collectors would pay a fortune for." "Are you telling me this junkyard is sitting on a goldmine?" Mark raised an eyebrow, incredulous. "Maybe more than that," Sarah murmured, feeling a mix of hope and fear. "If this place manages to have something valuable, we could revive it. We could make it something beautiful again." Mark shook his head, a flicker of admiration breaking through his guarded demeanor. "You've surprised me, Sarah. I didn't think you'd find anything at all." Sarah smiled, warmth spreading through her chest. "The adventure is only beginning, Mark. We can change the narrative of this place." They regrouped with her father, sharing the discovery amid a charge of energy. Her father's eyes shone with pride. "You did great, Sarah. This could be the beginning of something special." But just as enthusiasm flooded their hearts, a sudden noise interrupted their moment. A sharp metallic clang echoed in the distance. The laugh lines on Sarah's face faded as dread washed over her. "Did you hear that?" she asked, glancing towards Mark and her father. "Yeah," Mark replied, a frown creasing his forehead. "What was that?" Their breath caught in their throats. They stood frozen, excitement morphing into caution. Whatever lay ahead might not just be treasure. The map rustled softly in Sarah's pocket, almost as if it had a pulse of its own. "Let us check it out," her father urged, his eyes gleaming with courage, but cautiousness loomed just beneath the surface, and at that moment, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to stumble upon not just secrets of the past but also confrontations that would challenge everything they thought they knew. What awaited them in the shadows? Would they be ready for whatever lay beyond the next turn? As they stepped cautiously toward the sound, Sarah's heart thumped violently against her ribcage, the thrill of their earlier discovery now shrouded in a blanket of uncertainty. The metallic clang echoed again, a reminder that the past they had unearthed might be more than just relics waiting to be polished. "Stay close," her father murmured, eyes scanning the surroundings, the shadows seeming to stretch into the night. Mark matched his pace, glancing nervously over his shoulder, while Sarah took a deep breath, forcing her legs to move forward. They approached what seemed to be the back of the gas station. The overgrown weeds clawed at their ankles, almost anchoring them to the ground as they passed old barrels and rusted cars. The fog of dusk draped over the area, creating an eerie atmosphere. Just ahead, a glimmer of metal caught Sarah's flashlight, reflecting it back. Mark stopped abruptly. "What if it's just some animal?" he whispered, his voice shaking slightly. Sarah shook her head. It was more than just an animal, she could feel that in her bones. Or it could be something else. As they rounded the corner, the source of the sound came into view, a rusted door, barely hanging on its hinges, flapping lightly in the wind. The sight sent a ripple down Sarah's spine. "Breathe," she told herself, "just breathe." "Do you think it could lead somewhere?" she asked, glancing at her father, who seemed lost in thought. "Only one way to find out," he replied, stepping closer. Mark hesitated, casting a wary look. "Are we sure about this?" Sarah took a deep breath, sharing her father's determination. "We can't turn back now. Whatever is out there is part of our story." Together they pushed the door open, creaking painfully, revealing a narrow staircase that led down into darkness. Sarah's flashlight beam skittered down the wooden steps, illuminating what looked like a disused storage area. The air was thick with dust, and an unsettling quiet enveloped them, heavy with mystery. "Guys, there's something written on the wall," Mark noticed, his voice echoed with surprise. He stepped toward the far side of the room, where worn graffiti seemed to tell a tale of years gone by. Sarah and her father joined him, squinting to read the faded symbols and lines scratched hastily. "What does it say?" her father asked, tracing a finger over the markings, as if they were sacred. I think it's directions or maybe a warning. Mark pointed out different symbols, a frown deepening on his features. It talks about the treasure but something else too. Something they said to avoid. A chill ran through Sarah, and she felt the weight of those words sink into her soul. What if the treasure isn't just valuable gas pumps but something darker? Whatever it is, we have to be ready, her father asserted, tightening his grip on the flashlight. Don't let fear dictate what we discover. With that, Sarah nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. They edged further into the room. The shadows danced around them, and a creeping sense of excitement and dread intertwined, each step taking them deeper into the heart of the mystery. As they moved further in, a gentle glimmer caught Sarah's eye. She bent down and brushed away a layer of dust from the floor, revealing what appeared to be an old, brass box that radiated a faint glow. The box looked ancient, its hinges still somehow intact, sparking a feeling of possibility. What if what's inside could change everything? She thought, her mind racing. Just as she reached for it, an unexpected crash shattered the silence, and something crashed down in the corner behind them. The trio spun around, hearts pounding, as a figure stepped from the shadows. "Who is there?" Sarah called out, her voice trembling. As the figure stepped into the dim light, they recognized a familiar face, someone they never expected to find in a place like this. "Surprise," the shadowy figure said, a smirk creeping across their lips, "I've been waiting for you." What they thought was a simple journey of discovery had just turned into a whirlwind of tangled truths. What did this person want with them? And could they trust them? The figure stepped closer, a twisted smirk on their lips that sent jolts of apprehension through Sarah. She squinted, trying to match the face with a memory, her heart racing in her chest. It was Jessica, an old school friend. The years had changed her, though. Where once stood a bright-eyed girl was now a shadow of secrets cloaked in confidence. "Jessica!" Mark exclaimed, his voice tinged with disbelief. "What are you doing here?" "Ah, the reunion no one saw coming," Jessica joked, crossing her arms. Her eyes scanned the room, missing no details. "I figured I might run into you both. You've always been drawn to the mysterious, haven't you?" Sarah's confusion deepened as fear lurked in the background. "What do you mean? You know about this place?" "Of course," Jessica replied, stepping further into the beam of their flashlight. "But it's not just about the junk and the treasure. There's a reason I'm here." "What reason?" her father asked, the protective instinct flaring in his voice. Jessica laughed softly, a sound laced with tension, then glanced back toward the shadows, as if something might emerge again. "I wasn't being entirely honest with you. I've seen some things that link to what you're searching for. Those instructions on the wall. They lead to a truth much greater than we anticipated." Mark exchanged a bewildered glance with Sarah. "We thought we were just exploring a forgotten place. It's not just a gas station, Mark. This place is a lot more than its surface," Jessica pressed, her tone lowering. "There are stories buried here, stories that can change lives." "What do you know?" Sarah pressed, urgency creeping into her voice. "What are you talking about?" "Follow me," Jessica urged. She turned on her heel, favoring the descent deeper into the storage area. "I'll show you what I've uncovered. But be careful, not everyone wants us to find this." They hesitated, but curiosity outweighed caution. Sarah took a calming breath, shifting her grip on the flashlight. "Okay, lead the way." As they followed, Jessica's voice began to explain the history of the gas station, stories of dreams lost and people who once flourished there. She spoke of a treasure, but not of gold or jewels, rather, something more potent, secrets that had the power to heal or destroy. The air grew colder as they walked, and the shadows seemed to lengthen. Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine. With every step deeper into the crumbling remains, her instinct screamed at her to turn back. But the allure of discovery and the entangled threads of their past pressed them forward. At the end of the hall, Jessica stopped before a heavy door, ancient and covered in vines. "This is where it all began," she announced, placing a hand on the door as if sensing the memories woven within. "What happens if we open it?" Mark asked, voice barely above a whisper. Jessica turned to face them, her eyes fierce with determination. "Everything will change, but we have to be prepared for whatever lies beyond." Sarah's heart thumped painfully in her chest. She felt the weight of the moment. Did they really want to unearth the chaos buried beneath? "What if we find something we're not ready for?" she said quietly. "Wouldn't you rather know the truth?" Jessica responded, and for a brief second, there was a flicker of doubt in her steady gaze. Taking a deep breath, Sarah stepped forward. "Let us do it." With her heart racing, she pushed against the door, and as it creaked open, darkness spilled out, swallowing the faint glow of their flashlights. "What's waiting for us?" she thought. As the door gaped wider, shadows danced and whispered, and the mysteries of the gas station beckoned them in, but deep down, a voice in Sarah's mind echoed, what if the truth was something they weren't prepared to face? The darkness drew ever closer, and as their flashlights flickered against the void, the ground beneath them trembled with a secret yet to be revealed. What lay in that darkness could change everything. As the door swung open, a gust of stale air rushed out, carrying with it a musty scent that stung Sarah's nostrils. The darkness beyond revealed nothing but the swirling void, and yet, she felt a magnetic pull to step inside. With her heart pounding and the beam of the flashlight flickering precariously, she took a tentative step over the threshold. Jessica followed closely behind, a look of fierce excitement mingled with trepidation on her face. Mark's protective instinct flared again, and he took Sarah's arm, squeezing gently. "Maybe we should reconsider this," he whispered, his voice low, barely a sound against the encroaching shadows. "No," Sarah replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "We need to know. It's the only way forward." More than curiosity, something deeper stirred within her. It felt like a beckoning, a calling to face the past and its tangled memories. They entered a dimly lit room, the air thick with secrets. Sarah shone the flashlight around, revealing what appeared to be remnants of an old office. Dusty files scattered across a rickety desk, and yellowed papers were strewn across the floor like ghosts of forgotten lives. This room held the stories Jessica mentioned, the lost dreams, the shattered hopes. "Look at this," Jessica murmured, kneeling beside a pile of documents. They detail the financial struggles of people who worked here. It wasn't just a gas station, it was a lifeline, a place where lives intersected. Sarah bent down, her curiosity overwhelming her fear, and scanned the papers. Typed letters spoke of loans and debts, of hopes pinned on the chance of a bright future. Each word struck a chord deep in her as she remembered her own struggles. They were counting on this place, she whispered, feeling empathy rise within her. "Maybe there is something more, something we can do," Mark suggested, shifting his weight nervously. "Like a legacy left behind." Jessica's face lit up. "Exactly. This is why I wanted you both to see this. It's not just about finding answers, it's about understanding how everything is connected," she said, her excitement palpable. As Sarah picked up a small, dusty box near the desk, it felt heavy. With a deep breath, she opened it to reveal a collection of old photographs. Families, smiling faces, moments captured frozen in time. A sense of warmth washed over her, but then a creeping sadness joined it. "These people, they were real," she mumbled, her fingers grazing the edges of the photos. "They're part of this story," Jessica replied, rising to meet Sarah's gaze. "And we can bring their story back to life." Mark offered a reassuring nod, but a shadow flickered in the corner of Sarah's mind. What if digging into these lives meant unearthing wounds too deep to heal? What if there were consequences they couldn't foresee? Just then, a distant echo reverberated through the air, sending a shiver down Sarah's spine. The sound intensified, bouncing off the damp walls, resembling voices trapped in anguish. "Did you hear that?" she gasped, clutching the box closer to her chest. Mark's eyes widened, panic etched across his features. "We should leave. Right now." Jessica frowned, gripping Sarah's shoulder. "What if it's them?" What if they want us to know? Heart thrumming fiercely in her chest, Sarah glanced back toward the heavy door they had pushed through. But what if we have to face this? The uncertainty gripped her, making it hard to think. If there's a chance to help, a chance to understand, shouldn't we? Isn't that what we signed up for? Yet, as the whispers grew louder, piercing through the air like knives, Sarah couldn't shake the nagging feeling that they had just opened a door leading to far more than just history, a portal to emotions and truths that could alter their lives forever. Do we dare? Mark asked, looking from Sarah to Jessica, fear mingling with hope in his eyes. With a deep breath, Sarah stood tall. We have to find out. The echoes of the past swelled around them, insisting they listen. With every heartbeat, she felt herself leaning toward the darkness once more. Would the truth they uncovered lead to healing, or destroy them entirely? The shadows beckoned, and as they hesitated, a decision loomed before them like the gaping door behind. What awaited them now was uncertain, but there was no turning back. As the whispers crescendoed, a feeling of urgency washed over Sarah. It felt as if the very walls of the room were alive, pulsing with the emotions of those who had once occupied this space. The air thickened, charged with anticipation and dread, and for a moment, she was paralyzed by the weight of her own significance in this unfolding tale. Sarah, please, Mark urged, his voice barely containing his desperation. We don't know what that is. It could be dangerous. But Sarah couldn't shake off the feeling that they were meant to be here. This was more than just an abandoned gas station, it was a crossroads of lives, so many dreams and hopes intermingled here. She felt an instinct to uncover each story, to breathe life back into the memories that had been forgotten. Listen, Jessica said, pulling Sarah's attention back. What if we're supposed to hear them? To understand what they went through? The echoes seemed to ebb for just a moment, allowing a silence that sparked an instinctual need to respond. The world outside faded into nothingness as Sarah knelt in front of the dusty files, feeling like she was standing at the precipice of something monumental. These letters, she murmured, her fingers brushing over the fragile pages. They tell about people trying to survive, families living paycheck to paycheck, just wanting a piece of the American dream. Mark took a cautious step toward Sarah. And what if this dream has dark corners? What if they lost everything? We can't back away now, Sarah argued, her voice steadying, adrenaline fueling her determination. We owe it to them to uncover the truth. Jessica knelt next to them, her enthusiasm blooming. What if we compile their stories? Share their struggles and triumphs? This could inspire others in our community. We can turn pain into purpose. For a moment, the echoes quieted, almost as if the spirits surrounding them paused to listen. Smiling with optimism, Sarah's fingers brushed against the photographs again. Yes. This might be our chance to connect the past to the present. But a flicker of doubt crept in. Could they really take on such a responsibility? Mark squeezed Sarah's arm. We need to tread carefully. Everything has its consequences, even the good intentions. As the weight of his words hung in the air, the whispers reignited, more urgent than ever. It felt as if a storm was brewing in the depths of the room, and Sarah braced herself against the noise that surged to a fever pitch. Let us choose what we find. Jessica shouted above the cacophony. We decide how much we uncover, how deep we go. Sarah felt her heart racing once more. This was a pivotal moment, a choice that could set them on a path filled with revelations or regrets. Still, she found herself bolstered by the thought of those once happy faces in the photographs. They deserved to tell their story. Just as that resolve solidified, a harsh, shattering sound erupted from the back of the room, like a glass breaking against concrete. Their eyes widened, faces frozen in shock as they turned toward the source of the disturbance. What was that? Mark whispered, his fear now palpable. Panic surged through Sarah, yet the conviction within her fought against it. They were entwined with the echoes of the past, now irrevocably committed to uncovering what lay in the darkness. We should check it out, Jessica urged, her excitement shining through the fear. As they moved cautiously toward the source of the noise, an unexpected warmth spread through Sarah. Whatever they found, she sensed that it would connect them not just to the past but to the essence of their own lives. And then, as they reached the edge of the shadows, the weight of the unknown loomed like a curtain about to lift, promising revelations that could bind them together in ways they never expected. "Let us see what's waiting for us," Sarah breathed, her heart pounding with every word. But would the truth they stumbled upon bring healing, or would it threaten to tear them apart? As Sarah pushed forward into the dim storage room, her flashlight flickered against the walls, illuminating the remnants of forgotten lives. Dust danced in the beams of light, but so too did the weight of piercing memories, dreams buried deep within the crevices of this decaying gas station. Each step echoed their urgency, a desperate call to understand what had come before. The recent noise still echoed in her mind, a shatter of glass that spoke of disturbance in their fragile quest. A shared glance between Mark and Jessica told Sarah they felt the pulse of history too, a tremor that could unleash havoc or healing. Together, they created a fortress against the unknown, fortified by the hope of connection. Jessica knelt again, uncovering a series of letters that somehow whispered louder than the echoes. These letters detail struggles, fractured dreams mingling with glimmers of hope, she read, her voice thick with emotion. Sarah felt it too, the ache of those who had once invested their lives here, yearning for something more. "Let us gather their stories," Sarah urged suddenly. "If we breathe life into their past, we can illuminate the path forward for our community." Mark couldn't help but admire Sarah's strength. She was a beacon of resilience that shone through their uncertainty. "We need to tread carefully, this level of exposure could have consequences," he reminded her, but even his words shimmered with reluctant excitement. Just as resolve firmed among them, another sharp clatter resonated from the shadows behind them, freezing their hearts. "What's happening?" Mark hissed, tension carving his features as he stepped deliberately toward the sound. With courage, Sarah led the way, now fueled by the intertwining energy of the past and their present. They moved as a unit, compelled by a shared sense of duty to ensure the voices from years gone by were honored. The air thickened as they approached a corner, and the flashlight beam flickered, illuminating broken glass. What could this be? Jessica breathed, bending close to investigate. A shattered frame lay scattered among remnants of paper, a portrait of a family frozen in joy amidst the shadows of despair. "They deserve so much more than just this neglect," Sarah murmured, her heart aching for the memories entangled in each jagged piece of glass. "We can do more." The weight of her words sat heavy in the air, as if the very foundation of the gas station pulsed in agreement. Increasingly confident in their purpose, Sarah extended her arm towards a dusty wooden crate in the corner. "Let us open this together." Together, they pried open the crate, and as its hinges creaked painfully, their breaths hung thick in the air. Inside lay a collection of cherished relics, a community scrapbook dating back decades. As the first few pages unfurled, images of smiling families flooded forth, evoking laughter and tears caught in time. The atmosphere shimmered with potential. Sarah's heart raced, excitement spreading like wildfire. This could be more than just treasure. It's not glitter or gold, it's life. These memories could forge new paths for not only us but others who felt lost. Just as they contemplated their next move, the room was suddenly illuminated by a flood of light. Instinctively, they shielded their eyes, confused and anxious. Light flooded the storage area, revealing more than just forgotten tokens. It unveiled shadows of hopes mingling with the weight of despair. "Let us seize this moment," Jessica shouted over the din, the energy prominent in her voice, mingling with the cries of the past that danced across the room. Would they succumb to fear or embrace the flicker of inspiring new beginnings? This was more than buried secrets, this was community intertwined and memories waiting for rebirth. Sarah stood tall. "We're meant to write this narrative, together. We can lift these stories and rebuild what was lost." Mark grinned, his bravado returning, fueled by her passion. "Let us gather everything and plan a community event. We'll unveil these stories, the spirit of each family shining forth. Again. We are the bridge to healing." The warmth of possibility surged within Sarah, knowing that the threads of their pasts didn't have to tie them down, they could weave a tapestry of renewal. Hand in hand, the trio stepped back into the light pouring in behind them, glimmering with hope. Each step forward echoed the essence of transformation, reminding them they were united in purpose, a family rebuilt through shared dreams. As the sun dipped low, casting brilliant colors across the horizon, they stood at the threshold of something magnificent. This gas station wasn't just a stop along the way, it was always meant to be a home, Sarah whispered, tears glimmering in her eyes. Mark, Jessica, and Sarah fell into laughter, confidence blooming in their hearts. Together, they committed to resurrecting nearly lost truths, feeding hope into the community, and gathering everyone who had ever passed through those doors. With the past in their hearts and the future lighting their way, they would face this new dawn, an inspiring journey that promised triumph. As they stepped out, Sarah felt reborn, the weight of struggle lifting as a fiery determination ignited within. Let us do this together. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire, uplift, and transform you. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, making sure more people discover these life-changing tales. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending because your thoughts matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation together. Let us spread hope.